Well, a good afternoon to you on March 21st, 2026. And this is Dr. Randall again. And I want to share with you a uh, Python repository for developing Streamlit applications that work with AI agents written in LangChain. And I'll eventually get into LangGraph as well. And this is the application that I will demonstrate today. This is a fairly basic application for communicating with a local Ollama installation. Now, I chose Ollama for a lot of this because I have a system that is capable of running some fairly large Ollama models. And if and you're free to download my repository and run these things as well, but it does require a fairly hefty system with probably GPU support that can run these models, because it's you wouldn't want to run it on some inexpensive laptop without a very good graphics card. This is the repository, and you're free to access it and follow along in my developmental journey. And the simple Ollama query is the directory in which this application that I'll be demonstrating today lives. And this is it running in the web browser. And like I said, I have Ollama running locally on my system. And if you want to follow along and run this on your local system, you have to first of all install Ollama and then download some of the LLMs that are available. This is the Ollama user interface. And the models that are available you can see in this selection box. And some of them are cloud models. And but my application only deals with the local ones. I could probably easily have it work with the cloud models, but I've chosen not to. I'm just working with the ones I can download locally, and so I don't have to worry about compromising my privacy or uploading information to the cloud that I don't want to share. And these little download icons to the right indicate that these are ones I have not yet downloaded. And so if you install Ollama, you can click on these and download as many as you please, or the ones your system can support. Going back to the application, on application startup, I have it initialize a client and download all of the local models to populate this selection box. And whenever a model is selected in this selection box, it displays some characteristics of the model in this area, the area beneath that in the sidebar. The number of parameters, 27.4 billion, quantization, the family, the format, its size. This is a 16.2 gigabyte model. And below that, on the lower left, this is the model's response to the question, hey, tell me about yourself. And so if I go and select another model, like Quencoder 30B for 30 billion parameters, I suppose, it is going to reach out and ask it about itself, and it'll give a different description here. Now, that updated very quickly, and the reason it updated very quickly is because I selected that before. If I select something else that it hasn't loaded since I've been running this application, it's going to pause here and do this little spinner over here as it reaches out to the server and gets that information. And it took a few seconds, 5 or 6 seconds. And so now it's GPT-OS S 20 billion. Over here, this is what you call a chat input. And you can ask the currently selected model a question. So I can say, oh, let me see. What is there to do in Boston in the spring? And it's thinking. It's thinking. Oh, there we go. And it's streaming, doing a streaming input so you can watch it. Now, even though that is a chat input control, this is not technically a chat. So I don't say chat with Ollama models. I just say ask Ollama models, because this is a fairly simple application that doesn't maintain any kind of chat history other than in the display. But if I go and ask it another question, it's going to be starting completely anew. If I say, what is there to do in late June, I may be thinking that, oh, I want you to elaborate on what there is to do in Boston in late June, but it's not going to know that I'm talking about Boston. Sure, late June is a great time to be out and about. There's usually a mix of festivals, outdoor adventures, and seasonal events. So it's a fairly intelligent response, but it's not in the context of Boston, because it didn't forget. It never knew in the first place. I'm dealing with a statically trained LLM. So unless I rebroadcast the chat history to it when I send this new question, it's going to be starting from scratch. It's not going to know what I'm talking about. And it's like conversing with an extremely intelligent person with zero short-term memory, in other words. So this is a very simple application just to let you play around with asking these various models questions. And this clear button, what this does is it just resets everything, so it no longer displays the previous questions and answers, and that's all stored in a variable in the Streamlit session state. And so all it is doing is clearing that and rerunning the thing, and so there's nothing more to display. And going back to the actual code, to PyCharm, if I haven't said before, I have been doing the development of this in PyCharm, and I'm using Python 3.13, and I'm using UV to manage the virtual environment and the dependencies. I've found it to be very, very fast and efficient. I like it. I prefer it to Conda and pip env and other things I've used. It seems to be kind of taking over. It's UV is very efficient, fast, written in Rust, and it I've never seen anything gain adoption as quickly as that. I'm sure there are things that have, but I can't think of any. Uh, I very much like it. And Streamlit, this is the entire program that generates that user interface. It is for applications that run in your web browser. I think there are ways that you can distribute it as like a self-contained application, but typically it runs in your web browser. This whole script is only 152 lines long, and that's even counting the blank lines. And so for this application, I had to install Streamlit with UV. Streamlit, LangChain, LangChain Ollama, since I'm using interfacing with Ollama. LangChain has implementations for OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, pretty much you name it. It has it. But I've chosen Ollama because, well, I'm experimenting and I don't want to blow a whole bunch of money on subscriptions when I just want to investigate and learn on the intricacies of developing AI agents. And I have a system that's hefty enough to run these locally, so why not just use Ollama? And as I get into it, I might get a subscription service. I'm tending towards Anthropic, but I haven't decided yet. I already have a subscription to the AI agent in PyCharm Pro, and I found it to be very worth the money I put into it. So since I've already have a subscription for AI assisted coding in PyCharm and in IntelliJ IDEA, I do Scala development as well as Python. I haven't seen the need for going out and buying a subscription to Claude Code yet, but I might as time goes by. And I've set up a run configuration to run this Streamlit application, and since I just killed it, see a connection error here. So I'll close this tab. Oh wait, I didn't switch to the browser. Okay. Anyway, so you didn't see what I was just trying to demonstrate. But anyway, I just closed the browser tab, and I will run the Streamlit application again and quickly switch over to the browser. And it's opening up the application in a new browser tab, and it's taking a little bit of time to initialize. And why is it taking the time? Well, it needs to initially set up the model, and it needs to call Ollama to get the list of the available models to populate this model dropdown. And thirdly, it needs to, once that model is selected, it needs to ask it about itself so it can populate the information at the lower left. And I also have things like okay, there's this one model called Nomic Embed Text, and it doesn't support chat. Nomic embed text is for doing vector embeddings, but I list it anyway. I just wanted to experiment, see what would happen if I put it in here. So when I sent it a chat message to tell me about itself, and I trapped the error that was returned and just had it respond with Nomic embed text latest does not support chat. And what's there to do in NYC these days? And you'll see error, Nomic embed text latest does not support chat. Vectorize this. Nomic embed text does not support chat. Okay, so that's not all that useful, is it? But anyway, I just left it in there for demonstration. Now doing Quencoder here. And it does support chat because it is taking a while to respond. Hello, I'm Quen, a large language model independently developed by Alibaba Group's Tongi Lab. And I'll go ahead and clear this. Write an efficient Python function to find the nth number in the Fibonacci sequence. Since it's a coder, I think it should be able to handle it. There you go, very quick. And again, as I said before, this does not maintain a chat context. And so if I want to ask it to elaborate on one of these answers, it's just going to not know what I'm talking about. And I'll go back to the code for just a few more minutes and quickly go over some of this stuff. At the top here, I'm setting the page configuration, set page config. This is optional, but if you have it, you want it to be at the very top. It's setting the little title to put on the browser tab, a nice little llama icon, and it's also setting the initial sidebar state to expanded. Since a lot of this information used by the user interface needs to persist, it's kept in the Streamlit session state. And so you want to generally, in your Streamlit scripts, to initialize the session state variables you'll be using. So what it's doing here is it's loading a .env file using load.env, and from that it's getting the initial model name that's defined in Ollama model, and also getting the Ollama base URL, sticking those in the session state, and that is so it can do the initial model load and get the names of those models. This about models thing, this is the information that was displayed in the lower left, and it's maintained in the session state. You can ignore this mark down here. This is to refine the font used in a couple of the widgets. One of the things in Streamlit, if you can't figure out any other way to do something, you can, since it supports Markdown, you can generally find some way to do it in Markdown. So this complicated stuff is just reducing the font used in a couple of the display widgets. Now, Streamlit scripts, whenever you interact with them in a way that changes, like if you click on a checkbox or choose something from a select box, the entire script runs from top to bottom again. And to keep it from being inefficient, because some things take time to run, and like loading the model takes a bit of time, and getting the information about the model, that takes some time. And so if you put those time-consuming operations in functions, and then decorate those functions with either cache data or cache resource, that information is cached, and so the next time it goes out to fetch it, it says, oh, I already have it, and so it doesn't do the time-consuming part, and it updates very quickly. And if we go back to this, to the interface here, if I select Gemma 327B, since it already retrieved it once, that information was cached, and so it instantly populated the lower left here in the About Gemma 327B. Going back to PyCharm, and I'll make this quick. You use cache data for things that are serializable, but for things that aren't serializable, such as database connections and LLM models, you use cache resource. And here's another cache data. This is the get models call that populates that select box. Clear messages is the function that's tied to that clear button that was in the interface. All it does is zero out the messages element in the session state. And this little line here, this is when the script first runs. If messages isn't in the session state, it just initializes it to an empty list, so it doesn't cause key errors from trying to access it. It gets the initial model here, and it gets the names of all the models and sticks them in the session state. Actually, this isn't the names. This is more complex than just the names. This is some model class with a lot of information in it. The title row sets up a little container that the title is displayed in. This with st sidebar, this is the configuration of the sidebar on the left side of the interface, where it has the subheader Ollama settings. It has the select box of the model names. And so to get those names, it does this list comprehension where it picks out the name of the model from each of the model in the session state. It's a little bit confusing here if you look at it, but that's what it's doing. And then it uses that array of model names in a select box. And when you give the widget a key like model name, whenever you select something from that select box, it sets this variable in the session state. And this line just displays the base URL. It's not editable because you really wouldn't make much sense to change it, because the model needs to be there in order to populate things in the first place. So I just have it pulled out of the env file. And I won't go into all of this in detail because it'll take too long, but it's this is where it displays the information on the selected model, like the parameters, quantization, family, and format. When the last time it was modified, a digest number. It looks like it truncates the digest. I think I might untruncate that. Let's see. Okay, and then this little conditional, if it says if the model name is not already in about models, it calls get about model and sets it. And since this is the time consuming function that's decorated with cache data, as soon as that returns, while this is running, that spinner is going to be going around and around, and the UI is just going to kind of be paused. And so as soon as it finishes, I call rerun to refresh everything and display that information, because when it reruns and it comes back down here, instead of executing this clause, it's going to execute this one and display the about model response. And this is where it displays the title Ask Ollama Models, and the clear button if there are messages, and then this little loop is just displaying all the questions and answers. You use the Streamlit chat message elements to display those, and they're not editable, they're just like for display. And the role in the message determines the icon that's shown to the left of the display. So if the role is, in this case, is either going to be user or assistant. And if it's user, it's going to have, let's see, go back to the interface. You can see if it's user, it's going to have this little red icon with hair. And if it's assistant, it's going to have this little toaster with a face on it that must indicate an AI assistant. So there you go. I will stop here, and feel free to contact me or download the repo and follow along with me. I will probably be putting out another video just about every week, depending on how busy I am in my day job. But I'm kind of going to try to target putting out one every weekend, and like to build up contacts and make friends with other people that are working in this field. So I hope you enjoy it, and I will be talking to you later.